Hey everybody, my name is Christina and I am the Wink Professional Development Chair. And today we're going to be going over the intro to LeetCode and a HackerRank. So what we'll be going over is how LeetCode works, how HackerRank works, why LeetCode and HackerRank are useful, code of the Wink, and coding problems, tips, and tricks. So first we'll be going over how LeetCode works. So this is pretty much the structure of a LeetCode question. So they give you the question. So in this one, in the longest palindromic substring, it says given a string S, find the longest palindromic substring in S. You may assume the maximum length of S is 1000. Then it gives you a couple of examples of what should be inputted and outputted. And then on the right side of the screen, there is where you put in your code. You can choose from multiple different languages. And on LeetCode, they have more problems that are preparation for the interview. So more algorithmic questions and different questions that they believe would be on a typical technical interview. And then next we have a quote that just says, just grind LeetCode, which is very, I wouldn't say it's the best advice since you definitely have to go over the background of these questions, but a lot of people say that in order to prepare for a technical interview, you should definitely just go through a lot of questions and a lot of variety of questions on LeetCode so that you have as much preparation for the interview. Yeah. So how HackerRank works. So this is HackerRank. It's pretty similar to the LeetCode website in that they pretty much give you a problem and they give you the question and then like examples of what the inputs and outputs would be and just like overall how you should approach the question. And then just like LeetCode, you would submit your code and then see if it comes out with the right output. And the only difference between HackerRank and LeetCode is that HackerRank has more introductions to certain things, so you have more opportunities to learn about certain languages. So they have like an overview of like introductory C++, introductory Python, things like that. So it's more of a website if you want to learn how to do certain questions in a language, whereas LeetCode is more just algorithmic questions and interview questions. So if you're trying to start from the beginning, I'd recommend HackerRank first. And then once you get familiar with like the introductory stuff about certain languages and those types of questions, I would go into LeetCode to actually full on study for an interview. So why LeetCode and HackerRank are useful. So LeetCode style questions are used in technical interviews by many companies such as Facebook, Apple, Netflix, Google, Amazon, and many other companies. As well as HackerRank is used by many companies for pre-interview screening coding challenges. For pre-screening for certain companies, I've gotten a lot of HackerRank coding challenges. So it's good to be prepared for those since sometimes they give you a very short amount of time to finish these, such as like an hour to do 4 different coding questions. So it's definitely beneficial to be able to be familiar with the platform so that before you start doing these questions, you know what you're getting into. So Code of the Wink. So Code of the Wink is a bi-weekly coding competition. It'll be done via HackerRank contests. There will be different competitions by skill level. So beginner would be people who have only taken CS10. Intermediate would be people who have taken CS12 and CS14. And advanced will be people who have taken CS141. There will be prizes for the winners, so be sure to participate in these so you can get some cool prizes. So this is pretty much how the coding competitions are going to work. So this shows the contest landing page. So it's going to have the about, the prizes that are going to be offered, the rules to the coding competition, as well as the scoring. So you would go to this landing page and then click on sign up. And then from here, it'll show various challenges. And then it'll show the leaderboards by points. So you're going to go ahead and solve the challenges so you can get points. And then once you solve these challenges, you'll get the allocated points, and then we'll determine who the winners are based on that. There'll be definitely more coding questions. This is just an example of how to like go into the coding competition and then sign up for them. But in order to have more of a variety, we'll have more questions. So coding problems, tips, and tricks. So be sure to think out your solution before implementing it. I know sometimes a lot of people just say, oh, I know how to do this, and then just start implementing it from the get-go, and then they realize later on that it probably wasn't the best solution, and if they had thought about it beforehand, they probably would have gotten a lot better solution. So definitely think out before implementing it, come up with the best possible idea there is. Also, take small steps to arrive to the correct solution. So you don't have to just full on go like find the solution in the like first couple seconds you see it. It's okay to have to think about it for a little bit. That's normal. Um, Thinking of like the best and most efficient solution always doesn't pop in your head from the start. So I would say come up with a simple solution at first and then improve and optimize. So this could be a brute force solution, and then from that you could realize that, hey, this is a better solution, and then just like optimize as you go. And then also be sure to learn and practice. That's a good way of how to be able to look at a question and then be able to come up with the best solution within a timely, allotted amount of time. So be sure to review a lot of things before a technical interview. So the percentages within the parentheses are the uses by companies on technical coding interviews. So we have things like arrays, which are used a lot. I've definitely ran into arrays a lot when I've done technical interviews. Dictionaries and hash maps, that's another thing that I've ran into a lot. Sorting, not as much. String manipulation, yeah, I've gotten a couple questions on that. Greedy algorithms, that's something you learn in your intermediate data structures and algorithms. So if you're a freshman or a sophomore, I wouldn't worry about that too much at the moment. But when you're going into full-time roles, I would say that's something that you could possibly run into, as well as search. These are the lesser used questions, so dynamic programming, stacks and queues, graphs, trees, linked lists, and recursion and backtracking. These are the things that I'd probably say review less than these, since these are most likely to pop up, but definitely still look over these since they still have a chance of showing up. And then if you haven't reviewed these, they might be hard to implement a solution if you're not too sure how to implement it. So this is the coding trifecta. This is something that I believe that you should follow when you're implementing a solution. So first, definitely think first. That's very important, since in order to implement like a problem solving question, you need to have the solution and be sure to think through what the solution is. And then implement. So just actually write down the code and then get your thoughts down on paper. Debug. So look through the code, see if there's any errors, see how you could possibly improve the code, and then optimize your solution. Go back to thinking again, think about how to optimize, and then go around again, and then implement, debug, think, implement, debug, think. So just like this is how you should implement a solution. So thank you so much for watching this. If you have any questions, please be sure to ask them in the comments, and I'll get back to you as soon as I see them. And yeah.